Welcome to What No One Knows, the podcast that tells the secret behind the published books, hosted by Lisa Marie Garcia, the Chief Operating Officer of Now Publishing, a full-service book publishing and author PR firm. Through the years in the publishing industry, we've heard the statement over and over, "This is what no one knows," when we interview would-be authors wishing to tell their story. This is what this podcast is all about. And now to our podcast and our host, Lisa Marie Garcia.
Hello, this is Lisa Marie Garcia, and I'm so excited that you're listening with us to our podcast, What No One Knows. Today, I'm very excited to talk with published author Jennifer Mulligan. Her book is called You're the Best Investment, and you're going to find out why that's a little bit of a play on words as we talk with her and when you understand her background. And I've read her book. It is a very richly telling business advice book, so I'm excited for her. Jennifer, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I look forward to it.
Well, great. Well, thank you. We're going to dig right in here to talk about your book and really the process in which you came to understand that you wanted to become a published author. Let's just start there. I think we have many listeners, and I've heard from many people that say, I've got a story to tell. I've got, business advice that I'd like to impart. I've got lessons learned and wisdom that I might want to share with the world. How did you come to understand that about you and your journey writing a book?
Writing a book for me, I think was a couple of facets. I wanted to be able to get my message out to inspire others. But then also, I found that there was a moment of it that was therapeutic as well. So I think combined with that and then the business acumen, I really feel that I wanted to get my message out, and it was a great time to do that, and really a platform for me to build upon in the very near future as well.
Let me ask you this, as you did mention the word therapeutic, and we do have a number of authors that do say that, once they're done, they say, actually, we ask them to dig deep. As they're writing their story, we'll ask them to dig deeper. And sometimes it's memories or it's reflections or it's, trials that they tried to put behind them and they don't necessarily want to go back and visit. Do you think was that any part of your journey, or do you think that if it was, then the follow-up question would be, do you think that is maybe some of the reasons that some people, don't pull that trigger to start writing?
Absolutely. I think for myself, I found, there were moments of it that were difficult to get my message across. But then, as you mentioned, you encouraged the digging deep component, and it really, I encourage others to do it. It was very reflective, and absolutely, it was something I really enjoyed the entire journey.
So thank you. And I have read your book. I have to say that it reads very well. It seems to be, you stay, I'll just put it out this way, you stay on topic for the right amount of time. It doesn't seem like, you're going on and on. It seems like, you say your topic, like, for instance, I'll just share something. You have a topic where you say, know your priorities. And you might, that might sound kind of simplistic to the listeners. Yes, we all know know my priorities. I've got it. But, do you know them in terms how you embrace them? And so you say, number one, first, set your goals, write them out, make sure they're in front of you, make sure that number three, you say, block out your distractions. You have number four, be comfortable with saying no. What I love about your book is it's very much, okay, this is what I'm telling you to do, and then this is how to do it. Can you talk about the structure a little bit more and how, and I think that's sort of who you are as a business person, I'd say as well. Would you agree? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think a lot of that nuances is, again, setting your goals. You mentioned block out the time and distractions and saying no. I think those are all business advice, not just for everybody, but also for women as well. I think I go deep on saying no and making sure we're not in a people-pleasing trap and making your priorities and driving that ship forward. Absolutely.
Yeah, not in the people pleasing track for sure is a big one. And actually, let's talk about your professional career. I don't like to give the bio at the beginning of this podcast, so we really haven't gone into it. But can you go ahead and explain yourself, your business banking background, your financials background, and your professional career, just to let them get an idea of that?
Absolutely. So I've been in the banking finance arena for over 20 years. Started my career as a teller, and remember the days of very beginning years of my career as a teller and really an in-store banker, and grew my career throughout 20 years from a oversight of a regional manager in a large institution to business banking leadership roles, to a market president role. Different roles of leadership, having influence on others in regards to their career, whether it was business banking or commercial lending. I really just look at it and say, from a banking standpoint, having an influence with others and other companies throughout the markets and the communities that I've lived and served within.
Thank you for sharing that. And I wanted you to share that background, because here's a fun thing that's in your book. And it's called a pop out is what we call them. But I love in your book, you have these things called deposit slips. Mm-hmm. So fun, right? So now the listeners can understand where they come from. So basically, it's bolded out lessons. Like, for instance, I'll just read one here. Again, I believe this was the chapter talking about, believe in yourself first and foremost. You have a deposit slip that says, what's your goal for this year? What's your goal for 5 years from now? Make a list of those steps that you need to get there, and then execute and go. So it's super fun and different and unique how you structured this book. You're the best investment. How was the process? Let's just have you share the good, the bad, the ugly. How was the process of writing the book? We're now on pre-sale, and we're going to talk about where your signing is at the end of this. But can you just share a little bit about how the process has been for you in terms of becoming a published author?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been very rewarding, a lot of fun. There were definitely moments in writing the book that maybe I got my own writer's cramp, writer's block, if you will, to kind of go back. And, I had to reschedule the timing a few times just because I'm reflecting, and I have to make sure the wording is coming across appropriately the way I want the message to come out. But it really has been amazing. And as I've been speaking to other individuals in regards to the book, I'm hearing more people want to come out with a book. They've always thought about a book, and I can't encourage them enough to move forward with that. And with your team here, it made it fun, rewarding, and the support that I've received has been great within the group as well.
Well, thank you. And as you said, this is the time of content. If we know nothing, we know it's about content out on social media, out on videos, out on, how many hundreds of platforms in different ways. And we just believe here, in publishing, we think this is why there has been a surge in people coming to us saying they want to write a book because, what is the biggest delivery of content? A book. So we're excited to be a part of, your book. You're the best investment, and just a part of this industry right now. It's really a fun, exciting, evolving, and ever-changing industry, but the world's ever-changing, so they all are. And speaking of change, right? So you told us a little bit about your professional background, and now, can you share a little bit about the fact that you actually are starting your own firm, or have started it already? Maybe just kind of share what you can about that, if you would.
Sure. So I've kind of stepped out and branched out on my own for a while here, and started my own finance company. And it's, business consulting brokerage. And it's allowed me to really harness all the skill sets that I've had and built throughout my career, and bring it all together to work with clients to help them really, at the end of the day, achieve their goal, which in financing and funding. So it's been a great journey over the last few months that I've been involved in, and I'll just leave it at that. That it's been fun.
Sounds good. And did you start thinking about this prior to pandemic, and then I guess the follow-up is, do you believe that, this climate right now has changed the finance industry, the banking industry? I'd like to hear from an insider expert on that.
Absolutely. The industry's changed drastically. Obviously, we're in a very rate sensitive market where the rates are at an all-time low. We're going through a time in our economy where we're focused on PPP loans and really kind of a distressed time as well. But there is uptick and opportunity still out there in the commercial real estate arena, and that's where we're finding and seeing some opportunities right now. But it is an interesting time in the economy, and I can hopefully foresee some positive in the future. But it's definitely a unique time.
And would you say, so I've asked this from other people in different industries, are you thinking, in your view, are you thinking that we will be back when it's not the new, it's the next normal, right? Are you thinking that things will stabilize a year from now, a couple years from now? I mean, what's your best guess on that kind of thing?
I think in 2021, we're going to see a change. I think in the industry of banking, we're looking at a lot more technology-based, cloud-based, and just leveraging more technology. From an economic standpoint, I'm not an economic, a profession in that arena, but I would definitely say over the next couple of years, we're definitely going to see some changes in regards to how the businesses that are operating, what that looks like, and how they're going to continue to operate. Some are in trouble right now. Some of these balance sheets are some of the businesses are going out of business and having to retool and refine what they are. And I think the ones that are refining, let's take the retail space as an example. Look at how the consumer is buying today versus how they were buying 5 years ago. We definitely see a change in that arena. I see the banking industry changing as well, along with many other professional kind of sectors, if you will, having to retool and recreate how they do business is a big thing. Not just pandemic happened, and now they're being forced in all different sectors.
I agree. I mean, from my perspective, and when this started, and we about in April, as we were talking about, and I was talking to other people I know in different industries, and that, I mean, I felt like, first of all, we know, change is inevitable, and the only thing we can count on is change, right? So. Yeah. This, like you were just talking about for the retail segment, I mean, I believe that, it just hastened brick and mortar that was going to close anyway, in some respects, right? And that survival of the fittest, I mean, in business, we know that, and just even in the fact that, now publishing is a second startup venture for me, and we're rounding our 5 years, but, the odds are against businesses for various reasons at the 5 year, at the 7 year, at the 10-year mark. Mm-hmm. And you're going to survive only because you are in that small percentage. And I think it's because you'll be nimble, you'll be adaptable, you'll be nimble. So it's definitely an interesting place that we look from right now, and the industry you're in is, a key industry. I feel that, most of us should be keeping our eye on, because, money runs the world at the end of the day for business. And very interesting times. I mean, even you talk to a realtor, and they're talking about how, homes are selling within hours on the market, and there's bidding wars, and that. We haven't seen that since when? Yeah. I'm not in the industry, so I can't tell you the exact years, but I mean, it's, just hasn't been. So I appreciate your input, from the industry insider there. The other thing that came to my mind as you were talking about banking and finance was this idea of, pre-COVID time. I know for ourselves, we were really starting to get interested in, the not brick and mortar, mm-hmm. The complete online. And do you feel like that will be the direction? What do you feel about that in general?
I do. I think that there's going to be a high tech play definitely in the arena.